Hello, everybody. Sorry about the voice. I've been a little under the weather. And remember that one show we did, we learned what under the weather, how it came to be about the poor sailor man, fisherman. All right, we're going out on the internet. That's cool. So, yeah, it's been kind of a wicked few days. But anyway, Thursday nights, Minutes with Milo, 9 o'clock, could be my last show for 2024. Haven't decided yet. Next Thursday's the day after Christmas. I don't know. If I'm feeling froggy, I might jump on here and do a little show, but probably going to be next year just cause of family and all that stuff. But tonight's show was just something we're scrolling through Instagram, whatever, saw one of these reels, and I'd never heard of a hail cannon. And I just had to click on it, find out more. But apparently it's something that has been around for the longest time. That it was, I know on the show we've talked about being able to control the weather, people interested in seeding clouds and, making it rain when they needed it to rain or making it in a certain place so that, I think told the story of the Chinese supposedly seeded the clouds and made it rain before the Summer Olympics so that it would be clear and everything. There was conspiracy theories that the hurricane that devastated North Carolina and Tennessee and those places nearby was cloud seeded to increase its intensity. Anyway, this is one of those things that it's not a conspiracy theory, man. They make these things and people believe in them and use them. As far as I know, they still use them today. So we'll look at what they are, what they're used for, and can you make one? I mean, the little clip that I saw, I'll let you in on it. Of course, by the title, you've probably already figured it out. It has something to do with hail from the skies, but it's not making hail. This thing is supposed to disrupt the formation of hail over, like, food crops, fruits, apples, oranges, cherry trees, all those kind of things, grapes maybe, that would be impacted, heavily by, hailstones. Of course, any crop would, but I guess, certain areas, just like Oklahoma's more susceptible to tornadoes, certain areas of the country are more susceptible to hailstorms. And so it's a greater danger. And so they come up. I mean, I saw a picture of one of these things that was on like a Civil War cannon wheels, right? So, been around a while. But I thought it'd be interesting to look at. And you know how you may not know how my mind works, but it's always turning around. What could you use something like that for? And it just, when I saw it, it immediately struck me. Why couldn't you use something like that to take down these drones that are flying over New Jersey? Because in the little snippet that I saw, the lady said that when they were using it, they had to call the local 911 center and let them know that they were going to set that thing off because it disrupted, like, the neighbors. They call in explosions, World War III breaking out and all kinds of stuff. And apparently it's some kind of sonic wave generator. Doesn't that seem like that could take out a pretty good sized drone? I mean, I don't know how high them things fly. I have no idea. Hey, Garthog, what's up, man? So, my mind immediately goes to see one of them dudes in New Jersey with this thing lined up on his back porch, turning it around, lighting that thing off, trying to knock a drone out of the sky. So we'll look at it. see what it is. Tonight's probably going to be a quick and dirty show because, as you can tell, my voice isn't holding in there too good. And if I start hacking up a lung or something, I'll try to cover up the mic. But let's see. Where are we? Come on around here. You ready for Christmas there, Golf Hog? I know I'm not. It's gonna be upon us. I hope I get over this stupid crud before that happens. Oh, come on. What are we doing? Move me up into the corner. And let's get this thing down. Of course, our first stop is probably going to be our really nice Wikipedia. I started on, really came on strong Sunday. I didn't get any better, so I went to the doctor yesterday. And, I mean, I haven't had a fever, so I figured it was pretty much a waste of time. Took the home test for the COVID deal, come up negative, but you never know, man. I go anyway. Just go home, they say. You'll get better in a few days. But my stomach is so sore from coughing, it's crazy. But anyway, all right, let's see what Wikipedia has to say about this deal. All right. A Hell cannon is a shockwave generator claimed to disrupt the formation of hailstones in the atmosphere. These devices frequently engender conflict between farmers and neighbors when used, because they are loudly and repeatedly fired every 1 to 10 seconds while a storm is approaching and until it has passed through the area. Yet there is no scientific evidence for their effectiveness. In French wine-growing regions, church bells were traditionally rung in the face of oncoming storms and later replaced by firing rockets or cannons. A mixture of acetylene and oxygen is ignited in the lower chamber of the machine. As the resulting blasts through the neck and into the cone, it develops into a shock wave. This shock wave then travels through the cloud formation above, a disruptance which manufacturers claim disrupts the growth phase of hailstones. Manufacturers claim that what would otherwise have fallen as hailstones then fall as slush or rain. It is said to be critical that the machine is running during the approach of the storm in order to affect the developing hailstone. One manufacturer claims that the radius of the effective area of their device, is around 500 meters or 1,600 feet. All right, so one thing I want to know is, okay, how high in the atmosphere do hailstones develop? Because I know, we looked at weather, but what I'm thinking is that, there is a certain altitude where the rise and fall of the water freezes them, makes it into little balls, freezes it again, makes it into a bigger ball, and so on and so forth. Hailstones are formed inside cumulus clouds that can measure towering heights of up to 50,000 feet. The growth into a full-fledged hailstone happens in the hail growth zone, where the updraft temperatures are negative 10 to 25 degrees Celsius. Hail forms when the thunderstorm updrafts are strong enough to carry water droplets well above the freezing level, and this freezing process forms the hailstone. In order to form, the temperature at the top of the cumulus cloud must be colder than negative 20 Celsius, with a large portion of the cloud below freezing. But it doesn't really give you, a range, I guess. So you think surely it's not 50,000 feet. So one of the reasons I was looking at that, because this one manufacturer said that their device was effective in an area around 1,600 feet. Now that can't be off the ground. I'm thinking once that thing's shot and it gets into the atmosphere, let me get my hands over here where you can see, into the atmosphere where the hailstones are made, it's 1,600 feet shockwave, that area. And how it, I'd love to see one of these things in action, just because you're shooting it in the middle of a storm. And it's so powerful that the manufacturer says that it can produce a shock wave that's 1,600 feet round. And let's just say it's at 20,000 feet. As it goes through the clouds, surely it makes some type of effect in the bottom of the cloud that you could observe. Of course, if you're doing it at night, probably you wouldn't be able to see it. But, some storms develop during the day and it hails during the day. So you'd think you'd be able to see it. All right, so let's look at the scientific lack of evidence. There's no evidence in favor of the effectiveness of these devices. A 2006 review by John Weiniger and Iwan Holloman in the Journal of Meteorological Physics summarized a variety of negative and inconclusive scientific measurements, including the use of cannons or explosive rockets, is a waste of money and effort. There's also reason to doubt the effectiveness of hail cannons from a theoretical perspective. For example, thunder is a much more powerful sonic wave and is usually found in some of the same storms that generate hail. Yet it does not seem to disturb the growth of hailstones. Charles Knight, a cloud physicist at the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder, Colorado, said in July 10, 2008, newspaper article that I don't find anyone in the scientific community who would validate hail cannons, but there are believers in all sorts of things. It would be very hard to prove they don't work, weather being as unpredictable as it is. All right. So, here's the one I saw that looked like it was on, I mean, that's pretty good work. (1901) hail cannons. Dang, them things are big. Yeah, Ricola. I walk around with one or two of these things in my pocket. During the day, it's not bad. It's when you're trying to sleep. If I can sleep more than 3 or 4 hours at a time, that's good. I think, that's what kills you. Let's see, what other pictures? Here's one in a farm. Got his weather stations, radio signal up there. All right, let's see if we can actually find, excuse me. Well, no, that's not what we want. Here's what we're looking for. All right, let's just watch this a video here. Hell. Yep. Sometimes those things sneak up on you, especially if I've been talking a while. It's like a It's almost like a cramp. Just all of a sudden, just jumps up on you. All right, let's see. Hail cannon in action. It does make my voice deep. I could do some radio response. Welcome. All right, let's see. Turn that sound on. Let's turn this thing on. Let me know if you can hear this thing, okay? Let's turn it. It shows it. So where's this cannon at? Is that it? Way out there? Well, it's pretty boring. Okay. Ain't much action in this hell cannon.
We're in Fresno County. There's a big storm coming in, a chance of thunderstorms, and over here the hail cannon firing off.
There it is.
It's pretty violent. Can't hardly hold the camera still. You film it up there, you can hear the plume flying up. You disrupt the cloud pattern.
Hope that thing's waterproof.
I don't think it cares if it's waterproof or not. Shooting those things off. And he's got some kind of orchard there. It makes a weird noise. I'm sure you'd be able to see it more. Alright, so let's look at this one here. Oh, cool.
There we go. Okay, here we go. This is a famed ex-basketball player. He has done some marvelous things in the world of basketball, and he's brought a basketball with him, the Barack Obama Special Basketball, I believe it is. And behind us, as we pan out of this, you will see that we have a hail cannon. We are in the middle of a nectarine and plum orchard, and we are going to be experimenting with basketballs in a hail cannon. Let's do it. Are we ready for this then?
We're ready.
Okay. There. We're going to turn this cannon on, and the same basketball player is going to try to throw a basketball into that cannon before it explodes. Well, it doesn't really explode, it just goes off. Is it going off?
I wonder what happens if he puts it in there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, there's no cheating. You wait till the thing goes once, and then you'll get your timing down, okay? All right? Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
We're ready. Here we go, boys. It's showtime.
God, that was fun.
Come on!
Oh, man. Of course, that's a little higher than 10 feet.
Yeah, you gotta go in there.
You can actually see the ring.
Ready? Come on!
There it is. Yeah, everybody's running. They can explode that. Well, I wonder if it ever came down.
Hailstorms can be a nightmare for farmers. Cherry and apple farmers in Door County found that out firsthand last month. And a cranberry bog owner in the central part of the state thinks he may have found a way to prevent such damage. But is the science behind hail cannons real, or is it just luck? Fox 11's meteorologist Phil DeCastro has both sides.
When thunderstorms approach the Potter and Son Cranberry Farm west of Wisconsin Rapids, owners turn to their cannon. First you hear a thud, which steadily gets louder, and before long, powerful blasts are coming every few seconds. The source is what's called a hail cannon, a contraption that produces controlled explosions to supposedly prevent hail. Owner Mel Potter says he used to lose up to 10% of his crop annually from hail damage before installing his first cannon in 1995. But since then,
I'm absolutely positive that it works, because for almost 20 years we haven't had any hail here, and we used to pretty near every year have a little bit.
When we head out in our Fox 11 Storm Chaser, one of the things that we look for is 1-inch diameter hail. At that point, a thunderstorm is considered to be severe. But even small hail can damage cranberry bogs. This is how a hail cannon is supposed to work.
hail formation relies on updrafts in thunderstorms keeping frozen raindrops in the sky. The drops circulate in the updrafts and keep getting bigger. Before long, they get too heavy and fall out of the storm. In principle, the focus blasts from this cannon interrupt that process and in turn protect a roughly half-mile radius of fields around a single cannon. It takes about 13 blasts for the hail cannon to get up to full volume.
This one feels like it's running at full blast without any issues. No issues.
The cost to operate the cannon is about $1,000 per year in fuel. That is a fraction of the amount that losses of even 10% of Potter's annual crop would be. But what's really going on here? Is the cannon really impacting the storms, or has Potter just had a string of good luck over the past 19 years?
Correlation does not always mean causation. And in the 20 years since Jeff last has been here, he says that the Green Bay National Weather Service office also hasn't seen any hail damage, and they don't have a hail cannon.
We're talking about thunderstorms many miles in diameter. Any man-made device having an effect that would reduce large hail. If a storm's going to produce large hail, it's going to produce large hail, regardless of what man-made devices are out there.
No matter what the case may be, if there's a storm moving through your area, we'll be tracking the storms to keep you safe. And Mel Potter will be blasting away with his cannon. Meteorologist Phil DeCastro, Fox 11 News.
Well, there you have it. Can we make one at home? You know, you can make a cannon that shoots tennis balls. I don't know why you can't make a hail cannon. This guy looks like he's done it. Okay, that's the same one before. Huh. Pretty awesome picture. It doesn't have a video. Doesn't have a video. Oh well. Surely somebody out there has had. Oh look, that looks like a fire extinguisher. That's a cannon. I mean, you could make t-shirt cannons, right? Probably the only big difference is the shape of the end. Makes it into a cone. Vortex cannon. Let's look at that. Maybe they're blocking us out because we're wanting to do a hail cannon. There we go. how to create a high-powered vortex cannon.
In this video, I'll be building a combustion-powered vortex cannon that can fire a ring of air at extreme speed and with significant impact at range. A fog machine makes the rings visible to the camera. The most difficult part of building a high-powered vortex cannon is creating the barrel. It needs to be a long cone and very strong. Metal is too difficult to bend correctly and too heavy, so the next best option for material is fiberglass. To create a shape with fiberglass, you first need to have some sort of mold or former that the fiberglass can be spread over like paper maché and will support the weight while the resin cures. My first thought was to try window screen to roll a cone as a former. My reasoning was it would be relatively sturdy if rolled in several layers and would have plenty of texture for the fiberglass to stick to. It ended up being pretty hard to work with, and I made the cone much too narrow, so I'm going to have to try this again. This time I'm going to roll a former out of thick painter's paper. I'll use multiple layers again to make it as sturdy as possible. According to some measurements that I've estimated from researching other large vortex cannons, I think the cone will work best with an angle of expansion somewhere between 10 to 15 degrees. Now this looks much better. I'm not sure why I hesitated to use paper in the first place. I'll use fiberglass sheets that I've cut into strips to cover this cone, starting from the bottom and working my way up. Hopefully by the time I reach the top, the base will have partially hardened and be helping to support the weight. Working with fiberglass resin can be a challenge. It begins to cure in about 10 minutes, so you only want to mix enough for a few sheets at a time. Switching gloves often so that resin doesn't have a chance to cure on your hands as you work will also make things go smoother. Each layer of fiberglass is overlapped as I work my way up the cone, so there are no weak seams. When the cannon is finished, the small end of this cone will be supporting the weight of the whole thing, so it should get a few more layers for added strength. Finally, I'll add a second layer to the entire cone, and that should make it plenty strong.
Yep.
A little warmth will help cure the resin faster. It was the middle of the night and cold out when I filmed this. In the meantime, I'll work on the cannon that will supply the burst of air to fire a vortex from this cone. A powerful pneumatic cannon would do the job, but some initial tests showed it takes a larger volume of air to create a vortex than any of my air cannons are capable of. Instead, I'll build a large chamber to power the cannon via combustion. A length of 4-inch pipe will be the body, with a threaded coupling on one side and a reducer on the other. 2 self-tapping screws will be the ignition terminals for the cannon, with a piezoelectric barbecue igniter providing a spark. A cleanout cap will provide easy access for fuel and fresh air between shots. The cone will mount with a 1.5-inch PVC coupling. Now that the resin has had time to cure, I can trim off the top of the cone so it transitions to the fitting smoothly. I'll use sandpaper to rough up the outside of both items and a few strips of fiberglass wrapped around the joint to turn the 2 pieces into one.
Oh, got wiggly there. Shouldn't have cut it so far down.
After a little more cure time, the vortex cone can attach to the chamber I've made by slipping over a short length of 1.5-inch pipe that has been glued into the chamber's reducer. The cannon is fired with flammable aerosol spray in the same way as a classic potato gun. I use a thin plastic film pressed between the barrel and the chamber to act as a burst disc for more powerful shots. A burst disc allows the combustion to reach a higher pressure before punching through and accelerating the vortex down the barrel.
Pretty smart.
This can make for an impressive result. Some of the lighting for the slow motion shots in this video was created with a ThruNite TN36 flashlight. ThruNite seems to be outdoing themselves continuously with how bright their flashlights can get. The TN36 produces over 6,500 lumens in a wide beam pattern to light a very large area. I only used its lower settings while filming the Vortex cannon, or it would have easily overpowered my 1500 watt video lights. ThruNite has been one of my sponsors for a while now. Having used many of their flashlights over the last year, I can say they definitely give the best value I've seen for top shelf flashlights. You can check them out through links in the video description and at thrunite.com. If you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe for more on
Excuse me. All right. So what do you think? You had like a hell cannon. Could you knock a drone mothership out of the sky with it? Probably not. But it's a good idea. They got to have something like that if they want to knock them out of the sky without endangering the neighbors or the kids down the street or whatever. And there's Craig. What up, Craig? Was it a good partay today? Did you get anything good gifts? Get any good gifts? Excuse me. Again. Yeah, Garthog's 12 gauge, I don't know how high those drones are flying, but probably pretty high, or somebody had already taken their sniper rifle, their hunting rifle, their 30-06 or 308 and shot one of them things out of the sky. And I know it's in New Jersey, but still, them dudes up there probably don't like it. And somebody be out there trying to shoot one down for sure. If they were low enough. That's why I thought this hell cannon might be a good, because it shoots a vortex of air. Maybe it could disrupt their flight. I don't know. Yeah. Did they have a real operational electromagnetic pulse cannon? I know my belly hurts from all the coughing. I could just sleep at night. So Garthog, do they have like an electromagnetic cannon that really works? I bet your hurts a lot. They do. I wonder why they don't use it. I mean, that would make sense, right? They could just I watch Rogan, but I don't think I've seen the one where they talk about electromagnetic pulse cannons. Just, disrupt their. I know they've got one. I saw this on one of these other shows, little reels, and they were using it in a stadium, and it was a handheld device, and it could disrupt. What it did is it disrupted the radio signals like a jammer, a targeted jammer, and they would sight it in on it and hold it, and the drone would lose signal, and when apparently a lot of them, when they lose signal, they'll just land or automatically go home or whatever, but it either brings it down or makes it leave the area. And I don't think that's electronic pulse. I think that was just like a targeted jammer, like radar or something that they shot at the drone that disrupted its communication. So, I don't know. Anyway, 34 minutes, about all I can talk. Starting to really wanting to cough up a lung again. So anyway, thank you all for coming by. Greg, I hope you had a good time. Sorry I wasn't there. This thing brought up. Huh. Well, there's that thing. Get rid of that. Whoa. There I am. That's better. So we had a guy on yesterday. I'll have to listen to it. I don't usually watch. I usually listen to him on podcasts while I'm doing other things. They have a drone army that can dispatch over a city with electro cannons that kill much electric motors. All right, yeah. Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year. Like I said, this might be the last show until next year. I just don't know yet. But anyway, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. Everybody get healthy. It's just no fun. No fun at all. I'm losing my ears. All right. Night, everybody. See you. I don't know. Maybe see you next year. Bye.